All right, hey folks, we're going to do some game design today for Artificer Artillerists for 5e24 D&D 5th edition 24 using the martial power system that we've been developing. So I'm going to need a few moments here for me to confirm my channel's up and running and do the social media posts, the stuff that you normally see when there's a countdown. That's what we're all scrambling in the background to do, but I don't know how to set up countdowns properly using OBS, so I generally don't. So I'm just going to yammer at you guys for a few moments here and hopefully retain your interest while I go through that process of pressing buttons. So if you're catching this in the future, you can skip past this by like a minute, and then we'll be up and running. Let's see. There we go. Okay, cool. Looks like things are coming through here. Almost done. Oh yeah, let me regale you with my story. Hey, Rel, it's good to see you, my guy. Let me go ahead and do my intro thing here real quick. My name is Phil Kearney. I create role-playing games, I illustrate them, and I publish them online. And I've been a DM since 1987. I've been a Magic the Gathering enthusiast since like 93 or so. I've been a freelance illustrator in the RPG industry since 1999, and I have been creating content on the DMsGuild since 2018. The first books that I produced and still producing even now are Magic the Gathering books. Once the Ravnica Guildmaster's Guide to Ravnica book was released on by Wizards of the Coast, it became available for us on the DMsGuild to be able to create content for. And since Wizards didn't utilize any color mana mechanics for the Magic the Gathering settings they were creating, that was my first inspiration to actually start creating actual D&D content. So I'm just now wrapping up my conclusion stuff here. So if you check out on the rack of books down here, there's a whole stack of books to Magic the Gathering here. We're going to be updating all of these. Once the Eberron adventure book that I work on in the mornings is done and we get that published, we're going to be updating all of these books for 2024 rules. And actually the 2024 rule set works better for the color mana system than what the 2014 system did, because WotC is experimenting and expressing mechanics and resources a little bit more innovatively, with a little bit more innovation than they had originally in 2014, and that innovation curves into the space that we were already creating with the color mana system. So in my eyes, 2024 is freaking awesome because I like designing with it. And one of the big design revisions that we've been built. I mean, you can check out all these books; they're all free previews. And if you find today fun, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon for notifications when we're live in the future. We do playtesting stuff on my Discord server on Saturdays. That's here. The entire playlist for the color mana system and the martial power system that we're developing today are here and here. And if you want to read along today, the free preview document for playtesting, you just click that here. It's a read-only Google Doc. This is the same document that we've been using every day to build inside of. And right now, here, I'm going to peel this open here. And let me get that out of the way. Here's the, also linked down here is the, here's the, it didn't come through right. Oops. This is the playtest documents for the Artificer version 1 that came out a few months ago, and then version 2, which came out a couple weeks ago. So we've already converted the cartographer. We've converted the core class. We've converted the cartographer, and we converted the battlesmith last week. No, actually on Tuesday. So today we're going to get into the artillerist, and then Tuesday next week we'll do the armorer. And then on Friday next week, we'll do the Alchemist. And then we'll be done with the Artificer until Wizards provides another update or publishes the final class. Hey, what's up, my guy? So I've got like lost... Oh. Right on. How long am I going to stream for today? Probably for an hour, maybe a little bit extra. So bad diet. Right on, man. So for those that aren't aware, the martial power system is a mana system that converts fighters, all the martial classes, the barbarian, the fighter, the monk, the rogue, into half-casters, and provides an alternate set of magic options, which we call powers, which is similar to the Book of Nine Swords from 3rd edition, or just martial powers in 4th edition, to give martial characters something, the same sort of quadratic growth that the full casters have. The disparage has always been linear growth for martial characters, and then exponential growth for full casters. But with a power system like this, just like in 4th edition, all the classes kind of ramp together. The full casters have a huge mana pool, but also have really expensive spells that ramp as they progress from level 1 to 9, from, well, 10 if you include Wish at 19th level. So, but basically from level 1 to 20, they continue to scale up in power up through 9th level, 10th level spell Wishes. While half-casters scale from 1st to 5th, hitting 5th level at 17th level. And so the Ranger, the Paladin, and the Artificer, which we're working on today, they all use the half-casting progression. So, and a mix between the linear martial progression plus half-casting of being able to scale up to 5th level equals not quite as good as full casters ramping. But the systems that we've instilled into the martial power system allows for martial characters to be able to spam and basically chain effects and use multiple magical actions or magical effects per round. And they can spam them out in low doses of mana, while like a full caster could slap out, like, here comes 9 points of damage. Here comes 9 mana worth of meteor swarm coming at you. Watch out. So it throws down tons of mana, while a martial character is like, at best they can kick out 5 mana. At 17th level, at best they can punch out 5 mana. At 1st level, they can only do 1 mana. At 5th level, they can do 2 mana at a time. 9th level, they can do 3 mana at a time. 13th level, they can do 4 mana at a time. And at 17th level, they can do 5 mana at a time. The half-casting progression system. Well, hey, what's going on, Folly? And so, before we get into the Artificer Artillerist today, one of the things that we had in the playtest last week was there was an occasion where one of our martial characters was attempting to use a reaction trigger effect during their turn, and at the time, the mana system was preventing them from being able to use the reaction power that they wanted to, the way that they wanted to use it. And so that led us to expanding on and reevaluating the empowered action system. So empowered actions allow you to sacrifice action economy to generate mana that you have to spend during the same turn on, not for spellcasting, but for powers, to be able to trigger effects. So you can spam out these low-level powers if you're willing to give up action economy. And since most martial characters get multiple attacks, and like the fighter gets a lot of attacks, we have the bonus action, movement, and now reactions that we have every round. When you sacrifice one of your actions, it generates mana. And so an attack, for every attack that when you take the attack action, for every attack that you sacrifice, you gain a temporary point of mana that you can spend on a power. Like if you hit somebody and you have 2 attacks, if you hit somebody with your first attack, you could sacrifice your second attack to generate a free point of mana to deal extra damage and trigger whatever the collateral condition effect is that martial strike would do, like the burning strike. You hit somebody and now they're on fire, and they're going to take damage every turn until they stop, drop, and roll. Or I think it's a dexterity saving throw to put themselves out at the end of the round after they've taken damage again. Like that's a thing that you could pop a point of mana to deal a little bit of extra, like to hit them with some strong fire damage up front and then have an ongoing fire effect that they have to put out themselves. So like if I had 3 attacks and I hit, like if I miss with the first attack and then I hit with the second attack, I could use my third attack to attack like normal, and every attack I could spend mana out of my mana pool to trigger strike effects. But I had that one attack left over, my third attack as an 11 level fighter. If I only need to hit this guy once and I just want to put some extra mana into it, I could sacrifice my third attack to generate that mana. I could also sacrifice my bonus action. And depending on what level I am as a channeler, which is what we call channeling powers, a channeler instead of a spellcaster. But at first level, you can, if you sacrifice your bonus action, you get 1 point. At 9th level, if you sacrifice your bonus action, you get 2 free points. At 17th level, if you sacrifice your action, you get 3 points to, again, channel a power. And at 17th level, I can channel up to 5 mana. And so if I gave up my bonus action, I'd get 3 points for free. So then if I wanted to pop a 5th rank power, I would only have to spend 2 points out of my mana pool, which is pretty small. Movement, if I don't move and my speed wasn't already reduced to 0, I could stand still to generate a free point of mana that I would then be able to use. That's like really good for like a sniper that's set up in a nest that doesn't want to move anyway. Since you're holding steady, you can then spend that mana to either like ramp your attack roll, or to ramp the damage if you hit, or to create a shielding effect on yourself, or to turn invisible. A lot of different things that you can do with it. And then finally, now we have language for reactions. So with this, you can sacrifice your reaction during any turn, including your own, to generate 1 point of temporary mana. If you can take multiple and there's some powers in here that allow you to get multiple reactions per turn. So if you sacrifice reactions, you get a free point for each one of them. But again, you're limited on how much mana you can spend based on your level. 1 point, 5th level, 9th level, 13th level, 17th level. So you can ramp up, like a fighter, for instance, at 20th level has 4 attacks. You could, if you had a power active that allows you to exchange attacks for reactions, you could cash out all 4 of your attacks, not take an action during your turn, but have 4 reactions available for you to use throughout the rest of the turn. And any time that you wanted to use some mana, you could just burn a reaction. And you have 4 reactions. If you like have one, like if I'm going to counter, like if I'm going to hit you with an opportunity attack, I could then burn all 3 of my remaining reactions and put 3 points of free mana into whatever I'm doing with that opportunity attack. A really nice nuance about this is that on top of that, we added in, to complement it, a new exploit, which is called, where'd you go? Where? Give it to me. It should be in here. Hold on. Making look stupid in front of my friends. Quick help, rally, vanish. Where did I put these things in here on Monday? Did I put it underneath the wrong level? Hold on. Did I put it under maneuvers on accident? Empowered. Oh yeah, I put it under reactions on accident. It's not a reaction. Empowered effort is an exploit. Exploits are when you modify die rolls or effect, or like movement, or like a bonus action. You spend mana while you're performing that action or making that die roll, and it modifies the die roll. So you could, during your own turn, if like, that's my timer. Where was it? Empowered action. Hold on. See, here we go. Okay, now all is right in the world. Empowered effort. So empowered effort, it's an exploit. And an exploit doesn't use action economy. It affects action economy. So the way that empowered effort works is that when you make an ability check or a saving throw, you can roll 1 power die per mana spent this way, adding the highest roll to your result. So at first, at first level, I can roll 1. I can burn 1 mana, and for every point of mana I'd spend, I'd roll a d6, and I can only roll 1. So I would add the result of that d6 to my ability check or my saving throw. At 9th level, I can throw up to 3 mana into a power, and I roll d8s. So if I wanted to spend 3 mana, I'd roll 3 8-sided dice, but I'd only keep the best result. So there's a big risk-reward like gain effect here. Like if the first die is an 8, I didn't need the other 2 mana, but I didn't know I needed it. I could have rolled a 1, a 2, and a 7. So thank God I threw that 3rd point of mana into it, because that +7 gets added to my saving throw. So if I get hit, like say with a disintegration ray, and I make my Constitution, I think it's a Constitution saving throw. I make my Constitution saving throw, and I roll the die, and I'm looking at it, and it's like, that's kind of low. I could then spend at 9th level up to 3 mana to roll 3 8-sided dice and add the best result to that saving throw, potentially nullifying some of the effects of that disintegration rate, or like a charm effect, or falling, or whatever reason you would be making a saving throw. The empowered effort allows you to ramp that. Or like if you're making, like if you're trying to break free of a grapple, it's a saving throw. So you'd be able to ramp that as well. And so you could sacrifice your reaction to generate a free point of mana that you could then put into empowered effort, so that basically at any time you have to make a saving throw on somebody else's turn, if you have a reaction available, you could burn the reaction to gain a free point of mana to then ramp your saving throw. Or if you're trying to climb a wall and you fail the roll, then you would be able to burn your reaction to ramp the ability check that you made to potentially turn the failure into a success. So super useful stuff to do there. These empowered actions only work during combat. So if you drop out of combat, or generally if you're like Ranger has abilities that only work while you're in combat. Empowered actions only work while you're in combat. So you have a very small mana pool as a martial character. And so it's useful to keep that pool of mana. And you also get your mana back on a short rest. It's like a monk. And for every rank, it's 1 point per rank. So a monk excels with this stuff, is awesome. So you would be able to, during combat, choose how much action economy you're sacrificing each round to be able to ramp up different mana effects. So what you do during your turn is going to have more punch to it, because you might sacrifice something to be able to generate extra mana and keep your mana pool for when you drop out of combat and you start exploring again and you're dealing with traps and obstacles and hazards that you have to deal with. Then you could use your mana to overcome those obstacles on top of what your character can naturally do. So it's a really dynamic, instant effect sort of mana system, where if you need to do the thing, you do the thing, and you spend the mana to do it while you're trying to do it. So it's a very dynamic system, as opposed to spellcast, like full casters. They have to do like all these concocted spell casting and weave these material and somatic components together into the words, and they make the thing work, and now they have to concentrate on it to make sure it sticks around so it can still affect them, and their concentration is fragile. So there's a really fun risk-reward balance system using this mana system. Whether you're using color identities or not, the core spell point system itself makes spellcasters fragile when they're ramping up their really powerful spells, so they need to actually be protected. And now we're having an exponential growth formula using the martial power system. And so the cool thing about this is that the half-casters get to use both powers and spells. And you just basically, when you have a spell selection, you can choose any number of spells or powers. So when we're making an Artificer, the Artificer could be like, let's just dive into the Artificer spell list like normal and act like a normal half-caster. Or you could decide to ditch all that stuff and become a Gish, like a heavy, like there might be 1 or 2 cherry-picked spells that you like. And of course, all the Artificers get bonus spell lists. So I think they do. They should. Yeah, I'm sure the Artillerist does. So that's what we're going to go through. We're going to go through and we're going to convert the Artillerist today to use the martial power system from a Gish perspective. But yeah, here's your spells. Like these spells you get for free, and you always have these spells, and you can always spend mana on them. But then since you get these 10 spells over the course of your character, you could decide all the prepared things that you get could just all be powers. And now you have a Gish combat character that does all this martial stuff with a small selection of bonus spells and a stack of magic items that they can build that can lean into either additional power gear or traditional magic items, whichever one you want to go with. So it's a really flexible utility system that allows you, it works really well with multi-classing. It curves very smoothly between full caster and martial characters that way. Everyone uses the same mana pool. And so we can all use the same language in expressing our resources. And when you're using a magic paradigm like the color magic system for Magic the Gathering, if I am a Rakdos character, I'm using black and red mana. If I'm a Selesnya, like I have a Selesnya Divine Sorcerer in the Curse of Strahd campaign that I play in tomorrow. I'm a 5th level Divine Sorcerer, and all my mana is expressed as white and green magic. So I have a whole bunch of white and green spells, and if I want something that's not naturally a white or a green spell, I have to research it so it can become the color that I want, so I can add it to my repertoire. Otherwise, I have to learn it twice. Once in the like if I wanted to learn what is it? Finger of Death or Power Word Kill. That's a black magic spell. And a Selesnya character wouldn't normally have access to that because Selesnya is only white and green magic. So I could learn the spell as black, but then I'd have to learn it again to change its color. So I could get access to any spell, but it reduces the amount of spells that my full caster readily has available. So it nerfs them a little bit, kind of like how third, second, and first and Beckme used to silo what spells that your character had available to it. Or you could just spend some downtime and convert all the spells that you want into the colors that you want, and then you can just freely use spells out of your mana pool as you want. So it encourages downtime activity in your game. Or you could just say color is just a narrative element, and we're just going to go with spell points, just like the Dungeon Master's Guide 2014 did. It didn't care what type of spell you were casting. If you had a spell point, you could cast it. So you could just go with a narrative system. I am Rakdos. I am going to cast Bless, which is a white spell, but I am Rakdos. So I'm going to cast it as though a red or a black magic. So I'm going to express it narratively as white, as like red or black magic, while a Selesnya character would cast Bless and express it as, say, a white or a green spell with different visual aesthetics matching the color and the guild that you're using. Strixhaven works with this. Theros Gods work with this. Any Magic the Gathering setting you can imagine. I use color magic in my Eberron Spelljammer campaign. Super fun. Anyway, I think it's probably enough pontification at that point. I'm going to catch up on the text down here real quick just to say, hey, folks. Let's see. Folly, welcome to the mix. Rel, I'm glad you're here. Wait a second. Oh, no, it was your birthday the other day. That's right. Folly had a birthday recently. Cheers. And then who else we got? Steve, what's up, my guy? Black Magic. That's right. All right, so we're good. I love Rakdos as a hero character. Okay, let me take this quick rant here real quick because everyone always expresses Rakdos as evil, but what Rakdos does is it holds power accountable. If you wanted to play a good aligned Rakdos character, you would lean into finding corrupt politicians or oligarchs or wizards or whoever feel like they're above the law, because they are, and because they're above the law, only vigilante justice can take care of them. And Rakdos really leans into glorifying and making a public display of toppling those that think that they're above everyone else. Not above the law. They don't fucking care about the law. They care about, do you think you're superior to me? Let me prove to you how wrong you really are. Pop, 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 pop. So they bring down the powerful. So a good campaign built inside of Rakdos would be you hunting oligarchs and magocracy and corrupt senators that feel like the laws that they create don't apply to them personally, and prove to them how fragile they really are by taking some flesh off of them as a tax. So that very brutal, visceral Robin Hood-esque sort of campaign, that's incredibly Rakdos. And I honestly love that. The idea of a justice-seeking Rakdos character is just, that is incredibly appealing to me. In that sense, like, you could have Rakdos characters running alongside Boros and Azorius characters that would normally be diametrically opposed. But when somebody is operating outside of the law that's supposed to be upholding it, all three of those guilds start to take a lot of notice. And them having access to a resource like a Rakdos assassin that really doesn't care if it's following the laws or not allows Boros and Azorius to let them do what their demon allows them to do. It's a really fun dynamic, and I would revel personally into playing a campaign like that. That's how I used to run my Dark Sun campaigns in 2nd edition. They would normally find a criminal ring of some sort that they wanted to tear apart. And then they would just start dismantling it from the ground level and just work their way up to the overlords, and end up snuffing like 17th level psionicists and stuff like that build their own realities and trap people inside of them. It's like, yeah, we're gonna tear you apart. And those were incredibly satisfying campaigns. So, but you got me monologuing again. Let me actually get into the work today. So we're going to play with the Artillerist. And we'll start at the beginning and we'll work our way through and we'll end up where we need to be. So we're going to start with tool proficiencies. We're just going to basically build all this stuff out. We already have a scaffold in place. that we know works. We've picked at the Artillerist before, but there was updates to the core class, and my own proficiency and familiarity with the new playtest version of the Artificer has expanded since its release and since we played with this. So it's time to come back around and play with it some more. That's what we do. We play with stuff, we experiment with it, and we keep pushing the ball forward. So I can just duplicate the tool proficiency system here from the Battlesmith and lift it up here into the Artillerist. Oh, Artillerist already has it listed. How does the Artillerist work? Let's see. You gain Woodcarver's tools. Okay, we have those. Or choose another tool. In addition, when you craft a magic wand, the amount of time required to craft is halved. In addition, when you craft a magic wand, reduce the time required by 1 degree. So the normal time to create a common magic item is a week. The amount of time it takes to create an uncommon magic item, let's see if this is all still jiving. Nope, it changed. So let's grab these. This is creating magic weapons, which is the same time that it takes to make magic wands. And since all the work that we've been doing in the Bastion campaign system on Mondays and Thursday nights, including last night, we have more experience working with crafting system in 5e. So the way that it works now is that common magic items take only a week to make, but if it's a wand, it only takes you a day. If it's an uncommon magic item, it would take a month, but for you, it's only a week. Same thing with rare magic items, month to week. A very rare magic item, it takes a season to make a magic item normally, and for you, if it's a wand, it's only a month, and for legendary magic items, it would be a season, and for you, it's reduced to a month. If you're using a downtime system, like the Bastion campaign, then like this is 1 week is a turn. So like you have one Bastion turn, and then your thing is made. So very, very, very easy system. Because we're talking about magic wands, let's add in level. So a common wand would be 1st or 2nd level. An uncommon wand would be 2nd or 3rd level. A rare wand would be 4th or 5th level. A very rare wand would be 6th or 7th level. And a legendary wand would be 8th or 9th level. So there you go. We always have to say excluding wish, because you don't put wish in wands. I'm banging on all cylinders today, my guys. What else do we get? Demir is super cool. Yeah, Dark Sun is sick. God, Dark Sun is so sick. I was running a Luchador campaign for Dark Sun in 5th edition. I think it went from like level 3 to 6, and then and then our team changed, so we decided to change the campaign. But that was a lot of fun. Get me ranting about that sometime when I'm doing art. I will happily talk about that campaign for a couple hours. What's the next thing we have? Artillery spells. That's right. So let's go grab our spell list. Battlesmith spells. Let's go down here. This will be Artillerist spells. You gain bonus spells that were prepared and don't count against the total. So let's see what spells do we get. We get Shield and Thunderwave. So we're just going to update this real quick. Everyone gets Shield. You get a Shield. You get a Shield. Shield. Thunderwave. 5. Scorching Rain Shatter. Love it. Fireball and Wind Wall. Fireball. Wind Wall. Hold on. Let's check my shit here real quick. Yeah, okay, we're good. Just wanted to make sure that what I was doing was visualized. Fireball, Wind Wall. We also get Ice Storm and Wall of Fire. Ice Storm, Wall of Fire, Cone of Cold, Wall of Force, Cone of Cold, Wall of Force. Super cool. So these are automatically added to your spell list First level spells cost 1 mana, second level spells cost 2 mana, third level spells cost 3 mana, fourth level spells cost 4 mana, fifth level spells cost 5 mana. Let's see. Let's go up here. Okay, so an interesting thing about the mana system is that when a full caster would normally have like 2 mana at first level, and then it gained 2 mana per level and would cap out with 40 mana at 20th level. If you added up all the spell levels, like 2 5th, 3 4th, 3 3rd, 3 2nd, and 4 1st, that would be 4, 10, 19, 31, and then 2 5th level spells would be 41. So you have 41. 20th level Artificer has 41 levels of spells that they can cast per day that are parsed out into, they're pre-sorted into the spell slots. If you were playing on a long rest mana character, which you could do as it's the default assumption. The default for the Artificer is that you would have long rest mana, getting 2 mana per level until you hit 20th level. You'd have 40 mana, which is only 1 less than what the Artificer would normally have, but you can parse them out 1 point at a time. And so with the short rest mana, you get half the amount of mana, but what we need to do is something like what the Warlock gets, which is we need to have a feature that allows you to regain mana at some point during the day, because you don't necessarily know when you're going to get your short rest, and only having 1 point of mana kind of sucks. So having the channeling feature, which is harness magic, as a 1-minute ritual, you can harness magic from the environment, restoring an amount of mana equal to half your Artificer level, minimum of 1. You can do so once, regaining this feature when you finish a long rest. So basically for a minute, and that's just like what the Warlock can do, except the Warlock can regain their full level. So a first level Warlock gets 1, a 7th level Warlock gets 7, but a Warlock ramps with full casting progression. So at second level, at third level they have second level spells. At third level they have, at fifth level they have third level spells. So they ramp their mana a lot quicker. So they need to recover it better. So a Warlock gets full mana recovery as a 1-minute ritual, while the Artificer gets half their mana back as a 1-minute ritual. If you're using the using the short rest mechanic, if you're using a full rest mechanic, the Artificer doesn't need that. Artificer would have 3, 5, 7, and then you could take it up to 41 points, for instance. So, but we needed to make sure we added that piece in there so that at the low levels you weren't mana starved. And I'm looking through, and I'm not seeing. Yeah, we get the channeling class feature. So the Artificer can. Currently, what we're playtesting is that the Artificer can use empowered actions to generate mana, but you can only spend that generated mana on powers that you know. So if you want your Artificer to lean heavy into spell casting, you can't use the empowered actions above. But at some point, like the Ranger gets access to empowered actions at first level with their spell casting. A Paladin never gets access to empowered spells or empowered actions for their spell casting. But they also replace all their Paladin spells, like all their smite spells, you replace them with martial strikes, which we have listed in here. There's like 30 of them. So like a Paladin would be able to use empowered actions to generate free mana to use strike powers with. So you're giving up action economy to hit your opponent hard with your holy sword, right? That's how it works. But the Artificer has to choose. Do I want to lean into powers so I can generate free mana in small portions to Gish, or do I want to let that go and instead lean into the spellcasting utility and have to rely on my mana pool? But you can blend them as much as you want, and the way that prepared casters like this work is that you have your set of spells. You can change all of your spells when you gain a level, and then every time you finish a long rest, you can swap one power for something else, a power or a spell that's on your lists. All martial characters get access to all 190 spells. powers, all 190 powers that are in the game. And there's like 8 exploits that modify your rolls at first rank. There's 12 maneuvers that use actions or bonus actions. And you can use the same power twice in the same round if you use your bonus action and your standard action or magic action to use it. So there's complete fluidity in how you use your actions with mana. There's no blockage there. At first level, there's 9 different types of reactions, and again, they just scale up with more powers as you gain levels. There's 14 strikes, which are like paladin smite spells from 2014. If you hit, you spend the mana, you do the thing. There you go. And then there's sustained powers, and at first level, you have access to 18 sustained powers. So like, there is no shortage of options for characters. Like, if most campaigns typically run from like level 3 to 7 and then die, you're going to have access to about, and then there's all the cantrip effects, and there's like a solid like 40. There's 67 cantrip effects, including all the feats that you can get, all the combat masteries that replace weapon masteries, and the damage types. There's 67 of them, and almost all of them you get access to at first level. There's like, I think 5 of them that you don't get access to until 5th level. So you basically get like 62 cantrip type effects that don't cost any mana at all, but you have to declare that you're using them instead of power. Like, they're cantrips that replace spell casting, right? You spend mana to cast a spell, or you use your action to cast a cantrip, and it's free, but it's not as impressive. Same thing with these meta powers. They don't cost mana to use, but they eat up your action economy when you use them. So if you're out of mana and you don't want to generate mana to do an effect, you can always just use meta powers whenever you want. And a lot of these are the feats. So with this system, you can take any feat that's on this list, which is most general feats, the fighting style feats, and we have some extra new ones that we created, and as well as origin feats. These things are, you can learn these instead of powers. So like at first level, if you have 4 powers, you could decide just to lean into like being a crossbow expert, and say take the piercer feat for your crossbow bolts, and then you could take sharpshooter, and then say, I don't know, maybe you pick up telekinesis or whatever, or power, I don't know, whatever, poisoner. So you can poison your arrows. Like at first level, you can take all 4 of those feats. You don't gain any stat bonuses from them, but they don't have any prerequisites either. So if you don't want to use a power system and you want a simple to use fighter, then throw away the mana pool and just get all the feats that you would ever fucking want. So when you get to 4th level, you can actually increase your stats instead of having to worry about what feat do I want. It's like, no, you got all the feats that you need like in your first 3 levels, and now everything's just gravy from then on. So you can just bump up your strength or all your shit. You can max all your shit out. You don't have to worry about it anymore. So I think that's like a super simple system. And it's been fun watching the playtesters figure out like what kind of a build do they want, how much feat do they want, how much cantrip effect do they want, and how much mana powers do they want. And we're 4th level right now. We're gonna be 5th level next week, guys. Assuming that we play this weekend, we'll hit our threshold. We'll be building 5th level characters from now on. So we'll get access to 2nd rank powers. We'll get our 2nd attack. So we'll have more attacks that we can spend mana on, or more action economy that we can burn to generate more free mana, and our list expands. I'm really excited, but I'm monologuing again. So let's get back to work. I was looking through to make sure that we had the language here, just making sure that everything was in place. Something just was picking at my brain, and this is the tangent that we fell into as a result of it. So don't mind me. Curious if D&D would be better off if humans were the only race. Actually, most of my campaigns I run humans are the only race. Only in playtesting campaigns do I generally open it up. I love humans only. I think it's fantastic. I love vision being a problem. I like limiting your resources. I'm a big minimalist. Only when I'm playtesting stuff for 5e do I really lean into the diversity that 5e offers. When I'm running my own campaigns, as a DM, they're very sculpted. They're very curated with a very limited slice of life sort of effect. Like, these are who our characters are going to be only. And It's like the last campaign I ran, everyone had to be human. This campaign, you can only be Warforged, Gnomes, and Dwarves in Spelljammer in orbit around Eberron. And there's no humans in their guilds at all. Those are the only 3 species that they can choose. So it says like there's always these very limited slices so that you can look at other things. Like I can make elves as alien as I want them to be because you'll never play one. I can make Dragonborn or Medusa or Trents. I can make them as crazy and fantastical, as magical as I want because I don't have to worry about your character ever having that. So you can have very strict rules on what the characters have, and then go wild with the rest of the world for them to have to respond to and deal with. So yeah, it's a human-only campaign. It's fantastic. Like kobolds, but archfae instead of dragons. And yeah, we're fairy. That could work. So, yeah, like an all kobold campaign where you're only playing, or like you're only playing Saurons, like kobolds, lizardmen, dragonborn. Like those are the only 3 species that you can play. That's a fun campaign too because you're creating this very narrow focus of perspective. Of we are what's normal to our society, and everything else is dangerous and suspect. It's a really fun way to approach a campaign, whether it's a full 20 level campaign affecting your world, or it's just like a small slice of like a 4 or 5 level, or like a 4 or 5 session adventure. Having these silos are a lot of fun. Okay, so Artillerist. Let's see. We're building stuff. Right. What's the next thing? Eldritch Cannon. Okay. So, Eldritch Cannon, using woodcarver's tools or smith's tools, you can make a magic. You can take the magic action to create a small or tiny Eldritch Cannon. This is technically a small item. This is a blasting staff that's in the Color Mana Core Mechanics book that you can dump mana into to be able to ramp its damage. I think it does 2d6 damage, and the weapon itself gives you the sharpshooter feat. Just by equipping it, you become a sharpshooter. It does the aiming for you, and it does 2d6 damage. It has the range of I think a short crossbow. But you could also dump mana into it to deal extra d6 damage up to whatever your maximum amount of mana is. So a full caster that has their hands on this, like a 17th level wizard with a blasting staff, can dump 9 mana to deal an extra 9d6 on top of the 2d6 that it normally does, and has a decent chance of shooting you. So, and its companion here is a shield guardian. So, but yeah, so this is a blasting staff. It's technically weapons like this are like a large object isn't really large. It's medium. So, using woodcarver tools and smith tools, you can make a tiny or small eldritch cannon in an unoccupied space on a horizontal surface within 5 feet of yourself. The cannon's game statistics appear below. You determine its appearance, which includes your choice of legs or wheels. It disappears if it's reduced to 0 hit points. This is a guardian type, so I gave it a bunch of little legs, and it's got these 2 arms that are basically pinned to a shield that it can move and orient to give its master partial cover. So just like the Artillerist does. So one of the options is Protector. Burst of positive energy. Now it gives you hit points now. There's an advanced version of this that improves it. Firepower, detonate, double firepower, shimmering field. Half cover. There you go. Shimmering field protection. You and your allies have half cover within 10 feet of you. I'm representing this as a shield that provides some partial cover. Or this could be a shield guardian, the construct. It's just a different shape. Anyway, I like to draw. Okay, Eldritch Cannon. You can create 1 cannon. It disappears if it is reduced to 0 hit point or after 1 hour. You can dismiss it early as a magic action. Once you create a cannon, you can't do so again until you finish a long rest or expend a spell slot to create a new one. And since this is level 3, generally creating a new one is it's typically 2 mana to be able to duplicate effects like this. It's a little pricey for a 3rd level character, but it is what it is. So Eldritch Cannon, yeah, you can expend 2 mana to create a new town. I left out most of the language. I want to add it back in for the sake of playtesting, so we don't have to look at too many documents. So I'm going to start typing using wood carver or smith tools. You can create a tiny or small eldritch cannon construct. Let's see. That appears on a surface that can support it within 5 feet of you. Period. See playtest doc v1 to 4 for stats. It disappears if reduced to 0 HP. I'm not going to put a time limit on it. I don't like the idea of a time limit. If you can keep it alive, then fucking keep it. And you can create a new one when you finish a long rest. Or you can expend 2 mana to create a new turret. If you do while another eldritch cannon, while another construct exists, the first disappears. There. That's not the best language, but that's why we hire editors. There. And then we're going to go, let's see. As a bonus action, you can order bonus action to order the cannon to act within 60 feet. Bonus action while within 60 feet to order the cannon to act. To use flamethrower. Force ballista or protector. And you can have it move up to 15 feet as part of the same bonus action. Dun dun dun. It doesn't say. Yeah, it doesn't seem to have a will of its own, so it just kind of hangs out. Flamethrower, 15-foot cone. Force ballista. Let's see. Flamethrower. Let's see. Spellcast, DC. Dex save? Dex. Let's see. Flamethrower. Dex. 15-foot cone. 15-foot cone. Dex save. It's what? 2d8 damage. 2d8 fire damage. Dex for half. Force ballista. Force ballista. 120 foot range. Spell attack. 2d8 force damage, and has push mastery. And then last effect, where's my scroll function? Thank you. Protector. Cannon emits a burst of positive energy. 10-foot burst grants all allies in range 1d8 plus int plus casting mod temp HP. There you go. Xanadu. Let's move on to the next thing. Arcane Firearm. How does this work now? When you finish a long rest, you can use woodcarver's tools to carve special sigils into a rod, staff, or wand, and thereby turn it into your arcane firearm. The sigils disappear from the object if you later carve them into a different item. The sigils otherwise last indefinitely. You can use your arcane firearm as a spellcasting focus for your Artificer spells. When you cast an Artificer spell through the firearm, roll 1d8 and gain a bonus to one of the spell's damage rolls equal to the number rolled. What's up? So what would be better than a 1? Prey. Cat gun. It could be a wand made of... Yeah, could be a wand made of bone. Absolutely. Need multifunction. What about stone tools? Can I make my cannon a fire breathing? I don't know why you wouldn't. Sounds fine. Hey, Francois. It's good to see you, man. That's awesome, Raul. That's great. Okay, arcane firearm. Beep, 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 beep. Is that the only thing that happens? Yes, it is. Excellent. Hey, we're doing good. We're going to get done today. This won't be a problem. When you finish a long rest, you can use your wood carver tools to carve sigils into a rod, staff, or wand. These sigils remain until you carve new sigils in a different object. When you the arcane firearm is a spellcasting focus for your Artificer spells. When you cast a spell that deals damage with the firearm, one damage die, one damage roll add 1d8 to the damage of one effect. Let's see. When you cast a spell that deals damage with the firearm, add 1d8 to one instance of damage. To one instance of damage created. One instance of damage from the spell. Period. That's not perfect language, but it's good enough for now. So let's go to level 9. Explosive cannon. Every Eldritch Cannon you create is now more destructive. You gain the following benefits. Your Eldritch Cannons you create become more destructive. Detonate. Firepower. Sorry guys, I'm in the throes of typing, so I'm catching conversation over here, but I'm not responding to it. When your cannon hits 0 hit points, when your cannon is reduced to 0 HP, you can use a reaction to detonate the cannon. Detonate when your cannon is reduced to 0 hit points and you are within 60 feet of it, you can use a reaction to detonate it. Dealing 3d10 force damage to all creatures within 20 feet. Dex save half. Empower. The cannon's damage roll increases by 1d8. The cannon's damage increases by 1d8. Just the damage? Yeah, because it's explosive. It's not healing you better. It's just damaging better right now. That's fine. Yeah. Okay. Well, 15. Fortified position. You're a master at forming well-defended emplacements using your Eldritch Cannon. You gain the following benefits. Double firepower. Okay. When creating your ability to create Eldritch Cannons intensifies. Breathing intensifies. Eldritch. Correct it. Correct it, Kearney. Double firepower. And shimmering, sparkling thoughts. I hope to go on. I am Lord, yeah, yeah, yeah. I am Lord, yeah, yeah, yeah. That's my favorite South Park episode. You can now create 2 Eldritch Cannons. And can order both with the same bonus action. Choosing the same or different orders for each. Creating a replacement costs 2 mana each. Replacing each costs 2 mana. Each costs 2 mana to replace separately. Nope. Each costs 2 mana to replace. That's probably good enough. I can hear myself, but I think it's okay. Yeah, I know I can't create a third one because you said I can only make 2. God, sometimes the language in here is just overly redundant. I love you guys, but seriously, it's just infer something now and again. You and your allies have half cover. You and your allies have half cover while within 10 feet of a cannon. It'd be kind of cool, like you have half cover while you're between two cannons, but I can see why you want to have them independent. There you go. Hey, that's the Artillerist. This boy's done. That wasn't so difficult. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish building out the Armorer and the Alchemist. We'll do the Armorer on Monday. We'll do the Alchemist on Friday. And when we do that, we're going to come back through. And I think we'll be able to start. This is the base chassis. The bare minimum to make these things work with the mana system that we use. It doesn't really use martial powers at all. When we come back through, we can bend these things so that we can have them use power. Like, for example, the explosive cannon, the Eldritch cannon. It has these three options, but we could, as an example, like say at 5th level, you could use your Eldritch cannon as the point of origin for a maneuver that you know. So like most maneuvers require you, like if they're point of sight, like point click, most of them require you to be within 60 feet of the target. But we could do something like with the Eldritch cannons, a bonus action or a reaction can be triggered from the Eldritch cannon as though it were you. And so that would allow you to extend your range on being able to affect things. Like you could use your Eldritch cannon to release an emanation of like a cause fear effect. That would affect targets around them, or like you could do, like what's one of the fun abilities? Let's go look at our maneuvers real quick. Or like, for example, instead of double firepower. No, wait, we still want to have that. Like instead of the firepower feature, it could be starting at 9th level. You can start investing points of mana to add a strike power to the Eldritch cannon shot, the force the force bolt, the force ballista effect, a spell attack. It's 2d6, it's 2d8 force damage right now at 3rd level, but like say at 9th level you can now add when your force ballista attack hits, you can now use any strike power that you know to ramp the damage on it, because we just built it so it has the force blows. It has the push mastery, so it can automatically push creatures using that weapon mastery. So we're already pre-building in here that you can use that effect. Alternatively, we can make it deal only 1d8 force, like 1d8 plus spellcasting damage. It's like 1d8 plus your intelligence bonus as just force damage, and then starting at 5th level, you can start adding strike powers to it right away. That, or at 3rd level, we can just open it up and say you can just ramp it with strike effects anytime that you want, treating it as though it was a martial weapon. Like that'd be a really fun way to make to give the Artificer a reason to lean into strike powers instead of spellcasting. And then at 9th, then at 5th level, we could have. I'm gonna just put some notes here. Bonus, let's see. Also, use cannon as origin for reactions and maneuvers. Use ballista as ranged weapon for dealing martial strikes. I'll put a question mark there to say that's something that we're still thinking about. But this is what I'm thinking about for the martial power version of this. Let's put a question mark behind this just to make sure that it's clear that this is something that we're currently contemplating. Like, for instance, let's go look at some. Here's some maneuvers. Not all these make sense, but like, for example, coordinated dash, you can empower one ally per mana expended this way that can see or hear you to use their reaction to move up to half their speed without provoking attacks of opportunity. So if I were using my turret here and I drop this turret next to the wizard, for instance, I could pop a point of mana and say, "Hey, wizard, why don't you scoot your shit?" And then you'd be able to coordinated dash. Your wizard would then be able to expend their reaction and then move out of the way, and that would be a maneuver that you would be able to use either as an action or bonus action through your cannon. Shunt. Target a number of creatures equal to the amount of mana that you expend that are within 10 feet and up to one size larger than you to make a strength save or be pushed up to 10 feet per mana, channeled directly away from you. So you could roll your ball, you could roll your turret into a cluster of people and then pop shunt, and all of them just get punched away from the turret. We have forced movement opportunity attacks in this game. So the way that we work this is that if somebody is forced to move and that movement causes them to move out of your reach, you get an opportunity attack against them as though they chose to walk out of range. So you can use an attack action to push somebody out of your reach, and on the way out, you can hit them with a reaction that you triggered by pushing them. So you can double tap people as early as first level, but it eats your reaction during the turn. So you can manipulate your action economy that way. So you could roll your turret into a position, pop shunt, have them get punched past you on the way back, you slit the throat as they slide past you, and they land dead over there. Like, fun stuff like that. Fun stuff. Like, you could roll into a group if your team's positioned in different areas. Everyone gets punched away, and then everyone gets an ally that gets an enemy that gets flung past them. So you just hold out your blade, and everyone gets a throat slit on the way by. Like 3 mana, 30 feet of movement. Push a couple past your barbarian and your fighter, and they're just going to go snick and take them out. Fun stuff. Higher rank shit. Lethargy. Target creature you can see makes a con save. If it fails, it can do only one of the following during its turn. It can either move, take an action, or take a bonus action. It has to fail the saving throw, and if it does, it gets to choose which action it gets to use this turn. So, fun stuff like that. But again, these things can trigger as actions or as magic actions or bonus actions. And so if we have a feature that lets us use the cannon as the point of origin, the Artillerist, can be in a secure position, like behind the front line, roll our turret out, and have it start dealing damage to stuff in front or alongside the front line of fighters. So, fun stuff. Fun options there. And then reactions that we're looking at. Like, for instance, bait and switch. Trigger. A willing creature is within 5 feet of you. So if you're next to your Eldritch Cannon, like the wizard that you're protecting with your Eldritch Cannon. So wizard's next to you. Result. A willing creature is within 5 of you. The result is you can spend 1 point of mana to switch places with that creature. Switching places this way doesn't provoke opportunity attacks, nor does it cause an attack to fail. In addition, roll 1 power die per mana spent this way. Until the start of your next turn, you or the target creature gets a bonus to armor class equal to the highest power die result. At first level, that's a D6, which is really good. At 17th level, it's a D10, which is incredibly good. If you are this wouldn't be a battle master, but battle masters eventually get a D12, and monks get a D12 because they're monks. But this would be a fun thing. Like, you could use these things to channel these things through. So 5th level, it would be reactions and maneuvers. And then, well, maybe we would make reactions at 9th level. I think opening up the toys here would be fun. So yeah, martial strikes for the Force Ballista at 3rd level. Reactions and maneuvers oriented from, here's another fun reaction. Deflection as a reaction to when you or an ally within reach of your Eldritch Cannon are hit by an attack roll from a source that you can see. The attack is re-rolled and takes the new result, and that result cannot be a crit. So this is a good way. This is a good crit killer. Once your characters start gaining levels, and you have an abundance of maneuvers available to you, taking deflection is really good because, again, it's a crit killer. All these things can be used by monsters as well. So high CR creatures that are soldiers or minions can use deflection to shut down your crits, which feels bad. So fuck off. So don't crit. It won't feel bad if you don't crit. What's another fun one? Let's see. Countering attacks, second rank. It only costs 2 mana, 5th level. 5th level is when a full caster would get access to counterspell, right? So second level, it only costs you 2 mana, but still 5th level. Countering attack. As a reaction to when a creature within range of your weapon attack uses the magic action, make an attack. If it hits, the target takes damage and must make a Constitution saving throw against your channeling DC or half the damage dealt, whichever is greater. If the save fails, the action is disrupted as though affected by counterspell. So this is basically a spammable counterspell effect that you get. It only costs 2 mana to use it, but you also have to hit, and they get a saving throw on top of it. So you have those 2 tap effects, those 2 chances of failure, eating 2 mana just to try. If the spell fails, the action is disrupted, and then you get counterspelled. Yeah, there you go. Let's see. Redirect as a reaction to a creature within range of your melee attack that you can see hits you, or like say the wizard next to your turret. You can redirect the attack to target a different creature that you can see within range of your melee attack using the same attack roll, which could, like, you could direct the attack to yourself, like a barbarian that's a defender barbarian that's raging, that takes half damage from normal weapons. You could use redirect to take an attack away from the wizard to attack the barbarian. And now the barbarian is resistant to that effect. It does minimal damage, for instance. Anchor's a fun one, 3rd rank. As a reaction to a creature that you can see moving, teleporting, or shifting planes, whether voluntarily or forced. Before doing so, it takes 1 power die of damage per mana expended and has a 3 mana expenditure minimum. So it's going to be at 9th level 3d8 damage. And it must succeed a charisma saving throw. If it fails, it can't move, teleport, or shift planes until the beginning of its next turn. A falling, flying, or swimming creature targeted with a spell remains fixed in place, as though like with a rod of immovability. Is fixed in space. It occupies until the duration ends, which is beginning of the next turn. And you can choose to forego dealing damage. So you could target an ally that's about to get banished, for instance. You could hit your friend with an anchor, choose not to deal any damage to them, and they can choose to fail the saving throw. And even though they're going to be pinned in space, they aren't going to get banished. They could still, they're forced to have a 0 movement, so they wouldn't be able to use their movement to generate mana, but they can still, if they're a ranged attacker, they can still attack like normal at that point. They are prevented from being banished that way. So a lot of fun stuff inside of the system. There you go. So those are some of the ideas. And it is time for me to bounce out of here. Yeah, we're just over an hour. So I got the Artillerist done. I'm going to go ahead and fold up for the day. When we come back on Tuesday, we will continue with the armor. I'm going to go ahead and put a timestamp here. Continue here. Continue. Hey, how about that for timing? Thanks, Timely Timer. Continue here. So again, this entire playtest is available to everybody. All you gotta do is click down here to the Martial Power playtest document. It has literally all 13 classes in it. I didn't look at it today, but this is a 158-page document right now. The very tail end of the document has all the mechanics and stuff that I'm using for the mega dungeon that we're running right now. Like here's the trap matrix that I use for creating different types of traps here at the back end, which if you're a DM, you can use this. Here's samples of different kind of creatures at low CRs that I've been using, and how I'm organizing them into groups and the kind of powers that these creatures can get access to, like the green skin bugbear chief that was in the dungeon against the characters. It had Anticipate, Giant Growth, and Sweeping Strike, but they ended up allying with him and basically inheriting the dungeon from them because the orcs were taking too much damage, well, from the team as well as the dungeon. They had to get out. So they brokered an agreement with the players. Hey, we'll give you half the loot that we collected if you just let us walk away. We'll just walk away. We've taken our lumps. We're out. So here's all the here's all the damage scaling. Here's expenditures for like converting gold into experience points. Here's the combined tables of XP and total gold expected to be the amount of gold that you need in the mega dungeon per level to gain a level. Here's XP breakdown per level for low, medium, and high rank challenges per character level. And the BX style of converting treasure to XP. You can, if you want to join my server, my Discord server, it's free to access it. But if you have questions about this, you can ask. You're welcome to do so. Sample monster kits of building monsters by CR using this power system. So just like in 3rd edition and 1st edition, where you make monsters tougher by giving them character levels, well, you don't do that in 5th edition anymore. You use their CR system. But you can make them fancy by converting their CR to an effective power level, and that determines like 1st rank, 2nd rank, 3rd, 4th, 5th rank. And you can tack on these different effects, like a soldier type character using 4th edition terms: skirmishers, soldiers, lurkers, both melee and ranged lurkers, controllers, both melee and ranged. You can kit them out. These are sample kits of powers that your monsters can use against your characters if you're running a power campaign and you're leaning these things in. If the DM doesn't want the players to use powers at all, the DM could still build all of their monsters with these, and maybe if we have time, we'll take all of the monsters in the monster manual and give them kits of powers to use. So that's monsters using powers. And we have like elemental magic systems, color magic paradigms, all the bits down here. But way back down here in the back end of the player section, we have the full conversion 5e24 book for the color mana system for wizards. And all the full casters here: wizards, sorcerers, druids, clerics, bards. And then further up here in the document, we're looking here at the Artificer. It's a half caster. And the Warlock is also up here in the middle of the book behind the Rogue. Is it Rogue? Is that where we're at? Yeah. Warlock. And then Rogue. Yeah. Anyway, that's it for now, guys. Check this stuff out. Join the server if you've got questions. I'm happy to shoot the shit with you guys. Anyone that's interested in playtesting on a Saturday morning, 9:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. Seattle PST. We can take up to 5 people on a team. Anywhere from 3 to 5 players, we can run the Mega Dungeon. We're running the Mega Dungeon. Right now, we're 4th level. We're going to take it up to 10th level. Once we hit 10th level, we're going to stop the Mega Dungeon, because after 10th level, you can't really... It's hard to keep players in a dungeon after 10th level. It really is. So instead, we're going to start playing Mage Tower. The Strixhaven Mage Tower team sport. It's going to be basically Street Tower, where you have teams of 3-on-3. We're going to have 11th level, 13th level, 15th level, 17th level, and 20th level skirmishes, basically, of scoring points against each other. Best of 9 points wins, basically. So, but that probably won't be until September. But if you're interested in that kind of stuff, jump into my server, hang out, pick up this stuff, figure it out. Learn the mana system if you're interested in it, if you want to add this stuff to your own campaigns for color mana or MTG. I guess I'm the guy. So, cheers. All right, that's it for now, guys. I'm out of here. Check out my books. Like, subscribe, blah. I'll see you on the other side. Bye.